A Warren police officer has been charged.
Decapitated on the street right in front of his school.
Violent carjacking has left a GTA woman with physical injury.
People are recovering from a chaotic gun battle.
Good morning, everybody. It is 12 a.m. midnight here on the East Coast of the United States of America. I'm RJSMITH, and this is Crazy News Reacts. Welcome aboard. So on April 8th, I posted a story about 6 officers assaulting and raping a black man in Mississippi. Today, in my email, I received a story that you aren't going to believe. Same state. What is going on in Mississippi, guys? Why are the police there so freaking out of their mind? Check this out and let me know what you think down in the comments.
A very disturbing story. It comes from Jackson, Mississippi, where a woman says that authorities waited months to tell her that her son had been struck and killed by an off-duty police officer in his cruiser. 37-year-old Dexter Wade died back in March, but his mother said she did not find out about his death until August. The family's attorney is now calling for a federal investigation.
Okay, so look, let me give you the true facts. Jackson, Mississippi has been known since, the 50s, 60s, and before as one of the most racist places in our country. You can't deny what has happened in history in Jackson, from hanging people, the KKK, the African American marches there for civil rights. And keep in mind, this is the same department where 6 police officers were fired and charged with assaulting 2 black men and raping one of them. I did that on April 8th. This kind of stuff is unheard of anywhere else in the country. This is vulgar in nature.
Yeah, this is a story with a lot of questions.
Yes.
Betterston Wade said she filed a missing person report with Jackson Police Department in March after her son was missing for more than a week. She says when she was finally informed about what happened to her son, he was already buried.
I would have never thought this had happened to him.
Betterston Wade says she last saw her son Dexter on March 5th when he left home after an argument. Days later, Wade reported him missing to the Jackson Police Department. Wade said she spent months following up and searching the city for her son, even asking for help online.
He just disappeared off the face of earth and nobody knew where he was.
Every department has a public information officer. They have a missing persons department. And Jackson, Mississippi, their own protocol is to gather as much information, go out to the scene where the person was last seen, which the police knew, obviously, and they have cameras all over, so they can look at their cameras to figure out what happened. How is it possible, then, that the officers discover a prescription bottle in his pocket? It has his name on it and all the other identifying information that we know about, but somehow they still don't know who this guy was? Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Think about that for a minute. They didn't upload all the information to the National Crime Information Center, NCIC, which is standard procedure for any department. And there's absolutely no follow-up with the parents. Nothing. And the mother calls the police department. Nobody calls her back. This sounds fishy. You agree with me, guys?
What she didn't know was that Dexter was already dead and buried in a grave marked with only a number at a cemetery outside a county prison.
All the time. He was right down there in the morgue. All they had to say was, Miss Wade, your son is in the morgue.
According to his death certificate, Dexter was killed on March 5th, less than an hour after he left home when he was accidentally struck by an off-duty officer driving a Jackson police SUV near an interstate exit. Wade says police told her about the incident on August 24th, nearly 6 months after his death.
It's not funny. It's just typical bullshit that we hear every day in some form or fashion from some department around our country. Think about this. Your son goes out. He doesn't come home that day. You notify missing persons. Missing persons follows up with you. Now, the mother is giving the police the missing son's name, social, date of birth. So he's been identified, right? Therefore, they had his address, they had his name, they had his identification, they had a medication bottle with his name on it. Then I have a question. How does he end up not being identified? Nobody tells the family that an officer hit him in an SUV, and he's buried in an unmarked grave next to the jail, but there's a name on the death certificate. So how did they not know who he was? I suspect something much more sinister happened here.
Give me a reason to really Why y'all did not contact me? Why y'all didn't knock on my door?
Wade said a coroner identified Dexter from a prescription medication that he was carrying and received the next of kin information from a medical clinic. According to Wade, the coroner was unable to reach her, but she was told Jackson police tried to contact her several times. Wade says she never received a call. Jackson's mayor addressed Wade's case last week.
It was, in fact, an accident and that there was no malicious intent. There was a lack of communication with the Missing Persons Division, the coroner's office, and accident investigation.
Wade's frustration with the city runs deep. Last year, a jury convicted a Jackson police officer of manslaughter and the beating death of her brother.
The coroner's office is claiming they tried to contact her, but couldn't reach her. Well, the detectives had her phone number too, right? Because she reported him missing. There seems like there is a lot of accidents in Jackson, Mississippi. Do we really expect the mayor to admit malicious intent? Of course not. If he did, the city would be liable for millions of dollars. They're not going to admit that. And the shame here is that the mayor is the same race as the victim. But that doesn't matter in law enforcement. They are all the same. Okay? They cover up things, they hide things, they do not admit to their wrongdoings, and that is only brought through civil action and through the FBI. I would do Department of Justice, because you can't depend on the county to investigate itself. You just can't.
CBS News reached out to the Jackson Police Department but did not hear back. And as you heard Mr. Crump just mention that they hope to have Dexter's body exhumed, but they're hoping to do that next week.
Jeez.
To look at the amount of trauma this family has faced, though, and to know as a mother that you're doing everything you think you can, whether it's going online, asking people, going to the police, and somehow, as the mayor said, it was a lack of communication. For this family, they just say that's not good enough.
Yeah, that's more than a lack of communication when you have a prescription bottle that has his name on it. He's 37 years old. Why did they finally decide to tell the family that he was killed back in March?
And without the police really coming out and addressing this head on outside of the mayor, and what he has said, there's still a lot of questions, and the family wants to know. When you think about in the context of Jackson, Mississippi, Jim Axelrod did an investigation last year which showed this is a place with some of the highest rates of homicide in this country, 156 homicides, I believe, in 2021.
The media is investigating, and they call the police department to follow up, to get information, and the police department does not call the media back. Interesting, because the police work with the media all the time, right? To catch suspects, to identify people. We all know that. And having the body exhumed is awesome. But the big problem here is after 6 months, there will be no signs of injury, right? On the skin or in the musculature, all that stuff is going to be gone, right? So one reason I think is there will be no physical signs of what really happened to him. Now, if he was hit by a car, we'll expect to see broken legs, arms, expecting to see a head injury. If none of that exists when they exhume this body, then we can determine he didn't get hit by a car. So then we have to go to what else could have happened? What could have happened that would cause the police to totally bury this guy in an unmarked grave, don't notify the family? What do you think could have happened? Why won't they release information? That's all I gotta say. I'm gonna let you guys reach your own conclusions. Please leave your comments down below. I'm really interested to hear this. And hey, before you go, like and subscribe so that tomorrow when you come back, you will be a subscriber. Have a good one. See you tomorrow at midnight.